Hey guys, Zach here, coming at you with another video. Feels like such a long time since I've done one of these regular sitting in front of the camera type videos. But I don't know if you guys know this, but Bikini Rehydrated came out the other day. I mean, you could tell, right? It's Spongebob there, but yeah, Rehydrated came out the other day, and I've actually been playing the heck out of this game. I really wanted to dive into it so I can really make this video, because this video is definitely an important one, and it's about the kind of bugs and flaws that this game has, particularly the Switch version, because obviously the Switch version is the least optimized of the four games that came out on each console. And I really wanted to spend this video talking about the flaws in this game. No, not to bash the game. This is more so of a little hint to THQ Nordic and Purple Lamp what they can improve with this game when it comes specifically to the Switch version. And no, this is also not a review. I am not going to be putting up a review of this game until all the patches are out. So the review might be a little while. I apologize about that, but I really want to wait until this game is optimized completely for the Switch and all the patches are out for this game. So, without any further ado, guys, let's get into the video. So let's get some of the obvious stuff out of the way, and then we'll get into more of the nitty-gritty kind of details. Let's start with the frame rate. The frame rate on the Switch is really, really weird. There are some levels where the frame rate looks really good and it works well, like Marmalade, Rock Bottom, Kelp Forest. All those levels, the frame rate, at least for me, was pretty decent. But then the hub world, specifically the hub world, is really slow, really choppy. It takes away from the experience for me. It even hurts my eyes. Like, it makes me feel nauseous even at some points. Like, I had that during the stream. Watch it, by the way. And, yeah, I really felt nauseous during at some points of the stream because the frame rate was so choppy. And the levels that I had this specific problem in were obviously the hub world, Jellyfish Field, Sand Mountain, and Flying Dutchman's Graveyard. Those are the ones where I noticed the most slowdown, the most drop in frames. That's where I really noticed those problems. It could have happened in other levels, but I didn't notice it as badly. Like, I'm pretty certain that happened in Goo Lagoon and Downtown Bikini Bottom as well, but they weren't as noticeable as they were in those other levels. So really, I'm not saying the game has to be 60 FPS the whole entire game, but I'd really hope that they're going to patch it so that it's at least over 30 or close to 40 to 45 for every single level, regardless. And Jellyfish Fields in particular really struggled. Like, when I was playing it on the console, like docked, I really had an issue with Jellyfish Fields. It was so buggy and bad. The pop-in, which I'll mention later, was also really bad, so I'm really hoping they patch that, because Jellyfish Fields is the first level of the game, so that's really showing you what these levels are going to be about. So if the first level of the game is really slow and really buggy, it's going to sour a lot of people to not want to continue. So regardless, I really hope that they are working on the frame rate issues. Next up, the loading times. Now, the loading times are pretty bad. They are, if you die, you have like a 7 or 8 second loading screen. Loading between areas can be up to 30 seconds. The loading times are pretty bad. Now, THQ Nordic has addressed this issue specifically in saying that this is one of the details that they're going to make Purple Lamp work on. So this issue will be addressed. So I am very happy about that. I'm very happy that this specific issue will be addressed. But it is still obviously an important issue to bring up. The loading times are really bad. Especially like after you die, there's a loading screen. Like, that wasn't a thing in the original game. So optimally, I think they should have it where there's no loading screen when you die, or at least like one that goes like that. Like, it goes to black and then right back to it, like a minimal loading screen. Just so that, it kind of feels more like the original in that regard. Next up is the pop-in. Now, this is something that doesn't bother me as much. It still bothers me, particularly in Jellyfish Fields. I had an issue with this. Like, that's where it really showed, and that's where it really bothered me. But throughout the whole game, there's pop-in, all these textures popping in late, and I thought that was supposed to be patched with the day 1 patch, but it wasn't. So I guess it's something that's going to have to wait until a later patch. So I'm really hoping that those pop-ins get addressed. There's not really too much to say here because it's just pop-in, texture pop-in. It doesn't really take away from the game experience, but it is a little bit distracting. So I really hope that they clean up the pop-in. And I believe that is a thing on every single console. So hopefully they fix that up. Okay, next are some physics-related issues. I have 2 particular issues that I have when it comes to the physics. Actually, 3, technically. The first of which is a pretty big one. When you're on ramps, it's so hard to jump off of ramps. I don't know what it is, but once you get towards the end of a ramp, SpongeBob's jump height is significantly decreased. So I found myself falling more often than not, particularly, again, in Jellyfish Fields. I had this issue, and Rock Bottom as well in the museum. I had an issue where I was going up ramps, and then I was like, you know, not able to jump from the ramp to whatever other platform I was going to next. And it got really frustrating falling down after not being able to jump. So there, obviously, they just have to fix it so that your jump height is actually normal. So I really hope that they fix that. Next up is the Bubble Bowl. The Bubble Bowl, it feels okay, but there's one major flaw. If it touches anything that's kind of protruding from the ground, it goes flying. And I have this issue particularly with the Murma layer. The Murma layer, there's a lot of rocks on the surface, so there's one little spin wheel where if you send the Bubble Bowl over the rocks, the Bubble Bowl will just go flying. And I feel like that really shouldn't happen. And there's also an issue, at least for me, with my Switch version, with the sound effects. If you hold the Bubble Bowl for like as long as you can before releasing it, the sound effects just kind of stop. I don't know what it is, but the sound effects just like don't happen. So I really hope that they patch that up. Bubble Bowl physics, please fix them, especially with the rolling ballroom. It really suffered in the rolling ballroom, where I just kept losing the ball every single time because the Bubble Bowl was being stupid. Especially with that one part with the rock that you have to bubble into, where the rock would just not do anything after I hit it with the Bubble Bowl. I had no clue what I was doing wrong. And the last physics-related thing, I'm actually going to share a little bit of Triforce Addiction's video, which this is something I actually didn't notice until he actually called me yesterday and pointed it out. And I didn't realize it until I was like, oh wait, yeah, that is a thing that happens. So I'll let him explain this next part.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Triforce Addiction, and today I want to talk about something really quick because, I don't know, this issue that I've been having with the Nintendo Switch version of Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, it cannot go unsaid because this is just, it feels like this is a huge issue. Basically, if you move forward like this or down like this, nothing's gonna happen, of course. But if you move to the side, that's when you start actually slowing down. So as you guys could see right here, I was like, I'm not even trying to sneak right here. I'm not even doing anything like that. I'm just trying to turn a little bit to the northeast, and I can't because for some reason the controls in the Switch do seem to be a little bit off. So let me give you an example again. So let's say I want to move northeast, it's going to slow me down and it's going to make me sneak.
So yeah, so that's something I definitely want to be fixed, because it definitely does affect your movement when you turn, especially when you're jumping and you turn and all of a sudden you slow down, you lose all your momentum. It really is distracting. Hope I was allowed to use that footage, by the way, Triforce. I figured you'd be okay with it as long as I shouted you out. Let's talk about some of their accessibility changes here. There's one in particular that stands out to me like a sore thumb. The final boss, particularly the second phase of the final boss. Purple Lamp. Why did you add checkpoints to the final boss phase? Why? The whole point is that it's an extreme challenge. You need to make it through this gauntlet of enemies and defeat Robot Plankton. No checkpoints. If you die, you go all the way back to the start. That's the point. It's the final battle. It's supposed to be this big thing to where if you mess up, you really get sent back. And it's really not even being sent back that much, so I don't know why they really tamper with that battle, like adding these checkpoints. By the way, these checkpoints are definitely a reason that people can speedrun this game in 2 minutes, so they're probably not going to change it because that would mess with the speedrunning community. But it is something that does kind of, not anger me, but it's like, why? I know adding checkpoints makes it easier, but I don't want it to be easier. It's the final battle. I shouldn't be able to go through it like a breeze, especially since you nerfed Chucks. But I'm fine with that. Speaking of bosses, why aren't the bosses replayable? Why can't I go into Poseidon, Industrial Park, and Chum Bucket and fight the bosses again? Especially if I beat it and don't get 100%. I want to go back and get the rest of the spatulas so that I can go back to the final boss and get that 100% ending. So now I can't do that because there's no final boss. I mean, unless there's another way to do it, which I don't know of because I haven't gotten to that point. It's like, why did you take away that feature? It's kind of cool, I guess, to run around an empty Industrial Park and an empty Poseidon, but there's nothing to do there, so what's the point of having it? Just add boss replayability, even if it was something that you just like, you couldn't just add to the main game for whatever reason, so you decided to add it to the movie theater. Whatever it be. Just bring back boss replayability. That was such a weird thing that they just completely omitted, especially since they really wanted this game to be very faithful to the original. Okay. let's move on to the Horde mode. The Horde mode I had quite a few issues with. I actually didn't really like the Horde mode much at all. It felt very tacked on, it didn't feel very polished at all. First off, why is the music associated to Horde mode, why is it rock bottom? Rock bottom is the most somber ambient music that you could really have in a level. So why isn't something more epic? You're fighting all these robots, you're fighting Robot Squidward. Why isn't it the final boss theme, or Industrial Park, or just one of the robot battle themes? Why isn't it something like that as opposed to rock bottom? It's just such a weird thing, weird choice of music for them to pick for that segment. The rock bottom music is great, it works in rock bottom. It doesn't work for Horde mode, because Horde mode is a lot more grand and epic than that. So I don't know, they should really change the music for that, or at least have the option to choose whatever track you want for the Horde mode. Secondly, both characters should not have to share the same camera. I was playing with a rando, and there were two robots, one on each end of the screen. So we both kind of thought, okay, you go get that one, I'll go get this one. But the camera was having such a hard time with that. It was like pushing him away, it was pushing me away, and it was just so bad. Give each person their own camera, especially if it's online. Just have it be like the regular game where I'm only focused on my own character. That's all it should be. It's really not that difficult. I don't know why they went for this you could see everything approach. It's better for streaming, like I'm going to be on CC Media's channel tomorrow, doing Horde mode, and then I'm doing a Rehydrated stream tomorrow with Horde mode. But still, at the end of the day, it just doesn't feel right. Next up, this is an issue that's prevalent throughout the whole game. I even mentioned it earlier with the bubble ball, but the sound effects, at least for me, when Squidward launched his attack, when he, like, you know, when the red reticles would appear from Robot Squidward and they would explode, there was no sound effect. It was just whoosh and then a big explosion, but no sound. And that's pretty bad. So I really hope that they add a sound effect there to really, I don't know, add some, a sense of, like, you're in danger, I guess. And then lastly, my last issue with the Horde mode is it crashed on me. I played it once online, so I haven't really gone back and tried it because I was just so soured from my first experience. But in my first playthrough, the online didn't just crash, the whole game crashed. It took me right back to the home menu on the Switch, and I was like, that's not supposed to happen. So I don't know why the game crashed. It just, Overall, you guys, if you've been following me on Twitter, which you should, you know that I'm actually really starting to warm up to this game. Like, at first, when I was first playing it, you guys know, I was very soured on it. I was like, oh my god, is the whole game gonna be like this? Like, I was so disappointed. But the further I got in, and now that I'm doing my second playthrough, I feel a lot more comfortable with this game. I feel a lot better. But there's obviously still all the bugs that they really need to address. And I'm really hoping that they at least listen to the facts that I pointed out in this video to get a head start on what they could possibly patch. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All that stuff down below. Make sure to check out the merch store so you can get all cool merch items with, you know, that are related to ZakPak. And I don't know what else to really say besides thanks for watching, and thanks for being on this hype train with me for Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. And I will see you guys in the next video.